You think you're too broke to invest. You're not. You're too broke to invest a lot, and somewhere along the way, you quietly decided that means you can't start at all. That one decision is costing you $589,000. I'll show you the exact math later, and it's gonna shock you. Almost every piece of money advice you've ever heard was written for people who are already rich.
Max out our 401k.
Cool. On what salary?
Diversify across assets classes.
With what?
Don't touch your emergency funds.
What emergency fund? The entire industry talks to people who already have money and then acts confused about why everyone else feels locked out. It's not advice for you. It's a country club with a dress code. There is exactly one thing that doesn't work that way. One thing that works better the less you have because it runs on time instead of money. And I'm about to walk you through 40 years of it, $100 at a time. $100, the kind of money that vanishes over a weekend and you can't name where it went by Monday. Chapter 1. You're not too broke. You've just decided you are. Tuesday evening. Cheap apartment. You set up the transfer. You pick the index fund. You don't overthink it, because overthinking is the exact thing that ate last year and the year before that. You click confirm and nothing happens. The account reads $100. The market twitches 0.3% and your $100 becomes $99.70. You check it 3 times before bed. This is the beginning and it looks nothing like you pictured. I'll show you the exact moment it happens. Chapter 2. The gym with no mirrors. Month 6. The account reads $578. You did the math going in, so you knew. But knowing a number and watching it just sit there are two different animals. $578 doesn't change a thing about your life. You can't tell anyone about it. It exists quietly in an app you've started opening less because the checking stopped giving you anything back. The first 6 months isn't a story, it's a habit. And habits, before they pay out, only produce more of themselves. You're building the muscle of consistency in a gym where the mirrors don't show progress yet. Now that version of you I told you to hold on to, this is where they leave. Not dramatically, no quitting speech, just one tight month where the transfer doesn't happen, then another. The $578 sits untouched. You stop logging in, a year passes, the habit's gone, and the money rots in place earning nothing. That person isn't lazy, that person is human. The gap between knowing what to do and doing it when nothing's rewarding you, that's where almost everyone quietly exits. You don't exit, and you don't yet know what staying is worth, but you will. Chapter 3. The experiment you didn't know you were running. 12 months. You've put in $1,200. The account reads $1,312, so you made $112. Haha. You could earn that in an afternoon of overtime. Not impressive, and you're smart enough to know it. Disciplined enough to stay anyway. But here's what actually happened in year 1, and it's got nothing to do with $112. You ran an experiment on yourself 12 times. Every month you had $100 that could have been dinner, and it became a contribution instead. And every month, some part of you braced for your life to get harder without it. It never did. The month never collapsed. The thing you needed that money for mostly never showed up, and when it did, you found it somewhere else. That $100 was never holding your budget together. It just felt like it was. And here's the uncomfortable bit. That feeling is exactly what the rich people money advice preys on. It tells you you've got nothing to spare, so you never test it. You tested it 12 times. It was wrong 12 times. Chapter 4. The drop. 26 months in. $2,600 contributed. The account reads $3,100, and something's shifting in how you check. Year 1, you checked from fear, scanning for disaster. Now you check from curiosity, watching for growth. Same fund, completely different person holding it, and those two people do not make the same move when the market drops. Of course it does. 14% over 11 weeks, starting in a month you'd rather forget for reasons that have nothing to do with money. You watch $380 evaporate. $3,100 becomes $2,670. You feel it somewhere that isn't quite your stomach and isn't quite your chest. Everything in you says, do something, sell, pause, wait for it to calm down. You'd expect that to be the smart move. It's the opposite. You transfer the $100 on schedule because the schedule doesn't negotiate with the market, and that $100 buys more shares than it did 3 months ago because everything's on sale. You don't celebrate it. You don't even fully get it yet. You just keep going. 8 months later, the account's at $3,900. The shares you bought, scared, in the red, on the worst Tuesday, worth more than you paid. The discipline of the down months compounded in the dark. It does that every time. You forget every time, and the forgetting is fine, as long as your hands don't move. Chapter 5. The proof. Year 3 closes. $3,600 in. The account reads $4,750, up $1,150 beyond what you put in, and the gap, the space between what you deposited and what you have, is widening on its own now. It'll keep widening, faster and faster, until the returns stop feeling like a bonus and start feeling like a second person is depositing money alongside you every month. That someone is time, the only investor who never misses a contribution, never panics, never sells at the bottom. 60 months, you're 29, you've put in $6,000. The account reads $8,200. Somebody will tell you $8,200 is nothing. Technically, they're right and completely wrong about what it means, because $8,200 was never the number. $8,200 is the proof. Proof you can build something from almost nothing. No windfall, no big salary, no perfect plan. Proof the machine works if you feed it. Proof you're the kind of person who feeds it. That identity carries you the rest of the way. The money's just the receipt. If you made it this far, you're already different from 90% of the people who clicked this. So real quick, hit subscribe, drop a comment with the one thing you've been waiting until later to start. Investing, the gym, the business, whatever. Just type it. Chapter 6. The Quiet Distance. 10 years. You're 34. $12,000 in. The account reads about $20,500. Last year alone, your portfolio threw off roughly $1,700 without you adding a cent of effort. Not a raise, not a side hustle. Shares you bought a decade ago compounding into each other. Your money is making money now. You can finally see it, but something else grew over those 10 years. And the spreadsheet can't hold it. Your relationship with money changed. You stopped reacting. A red Tuesday isn't a crisis, it's just Tuesday. You went on the trips. You bought the things. You didn't live on rice and discipline. You just did it inside a structure that quietly protected the $100 because the $100 stopped being a sacrifice and became non-negotiable, like brushing your teeth. And then there's the part nobody warns you about. A distance opens up, quiet, between you and people who aren't building anything. Not because you're better, you're not, but because your small daily decisions point somewhere different now. Sometimes it feels like a loneliness you can't name. You're moving in a direction not everyone around you is moving, slow enough that nobody notices, until you look back and see how far you've already gone. Chapter 7. The machine takes over. 20 years. You're 44. $24,000 contributed. The account reads about $76,000. $52,000 of it, more than double everything you ever put in. You never earned, never deposited, never won. And you did nothing extraordinary. You didn't time anything. You didn't pick a winner. No mentor, no inheritance. You had $100 a month in 20 years, and compounding did what it does when you leave it the hell alone. Here's the part that's easy to miss, and it reframes the whole video. This isn't growing in a straight line. It's bending upward. Year 1, the market handed you $112. Year 10, about $1,700. Year 20, roughly $7,000 in a single year. You put in $1,200. The account adds $7,000. You're not the main contributor anymore. The machine is. And remember who that machine locks out? Nobody. It didn't ask your salary. It didn't check your net worth at the door. That's the whole point. The one wealth building tool that doesn't care if you're already rich. And it's the one nobody glamorizes because there's no product to sell you on top of it. It started with one $100 transfer on a Tuesday in an apartment you moved out of years ago. Chapter 8. The Person Who Waited. Let's finish the math. Year 30, you're 54. About $227,000, throwing off $22,700 a year on its own. Nearly $1,900 a month from pocket change, with 10 years still on the clock. Year 40, you're 64. You've made 480 deposits of $100 out of your pocket, $48,000. The account reads $637,000. $589,000 of that you never earned, built by time and by one thing, your refusal to stop. By 480 small decisions that each felt like nothing. Every transfer nobody clapped for. Every drop you didn't sell through, every flat, boring, dramaless year, all of it stacked, all of it compounding, all of it landing here. Now the part this was always about. There's another person in this story, the one who waited, who said, I'll start when I can do it properly, when it's $1,000 a month, when the raise comes, when the amount is finally worth starting with. The one who took all that polished advice built for people who already made it. That moment never comes. And if it does, the habit of waiting comes with it. The money disappears into a life that expanded to swallow it, and nothing gets built. So here's the take that'll fill the comments, and I'll stand by it. Being frugal and responsible and waiting for the right time is not the safe path. It's the most expensive thing you can do with your 20s. The system wants you waiting because a person who feels too broke to start is a person who never builds the one thing that doesn't require permission. You and the person who waited arrive at the same age in two completely different lives. You've got 40 years of compounding and a discipline that became a personality. They've got an intention that kept getting postponed, an account that kept getting raided, and the slow realization that time was the only asset they could never get back. Time doesn't wait for the right amount. It runs on whatever you give it. You gave it $100. The machine is open.